Ladies and gentlemen, what the world's been waiting for, what the world needs now, the one, the only, amazing, original Johnny Blaze. Often imitated, but never duplicated. There's Johnny.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you all to the amazing original Johnny Blaze show. It's always great to be here as I blaze right in with my karate kick. Let's have a blazing hot fun time. A bill collector came to my house the other day, so I gave him a huge stack of old bills. When I was a kid, my family was very poor. We were so poor, whenever somebody rang the doorbell, my mother would stick her head out the window and yell, "Ding dong." Speaking of poverty, we were so poor, whenever anyone would ask to use the bathroom, my father would say, "Use the third bottle on the left." Two lawyers were vacationing in Hawaii. One of them asked the other a question. "What brings you here in Hawaii?" "Well," said the other lawyer, "I'm here because my house burned down. The insurance company paid for everything." "What a coincidence," the other lawyer replied. "My house was destroyed in a flood, and my insurance paid for everything as well." After a few minutes of silence, the other lawyer replied, "How in the world do you start a flood?" We have a blazing hot fun show with a special guest. She is a multi-talented singer, songwriter, guitarist, and multi-instrumentalist. So please give a big warm welcome and say hello to Cherylann Hawk. Cherylann Hawk.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hi Cherylann. Welcome to the amazing original Johnny Blaze show.
Thank you. Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. You got such a nice smile. And you look very relaxed.
I am. And there's my alarm saying it's 10 minutes till. Get on Zoom.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad to see you. All right. Anyway, Cherylann Hawk, please give me a rundown. Tell me the Cherylann Hawk story. How'd you get started in entertainment, and where are you from?
So, yeah, I grew up in Benwood, West Virginia, where my mom saw me being a big ham every time I had an opportunity to sing, whether it was at church or Bible school. And she asked me if I'd like to find stages and microphones to sing on, because she saw that I really loved singing into microphones. And I was always making up songs, just narrating my days or singing about making people feel better and stuff. So she started finding me shows to do when I was 5.
You started when you were 5? That's really, really young. Yeah.
I was singing and dancing, and I was doing dance routine. I did a dance routine that the dance studio had taught me, and they had choreographed a little dance for my mom and I to sing a song called "Be a Clown" when I was in kindergarten. And that was the only show that she did with me. After that, the only time anybody ever got to hear from her was karaoke after a couple of beers. But she had a beautiful voice, and my dad was a big ham. He was an entertainer, but he was tone deaf, is what he called himself. So I got a nice combination of my parents. And Mom found talent shows and restaurants and fairs and all kinds of places for me to sing.
So they took you to all kinds of places, huh? Talent shows, restaurants?
Yeah, I even sang at a bridge gathering. The ladies were playing bridge while I was singing country music off in the corner. But that was after I was 12 when I started playing guitar. Before that, I would sing along with either somebody that we hired to accompany me, or along with cassette tapes of pre-recorded music.
So you play the acoustic guitar, right?
I do. And you
play many instruments. You're a multi-instrumentalist. Tell me about the different various instruments that you play. And are you self-taught also, or did you take any lessons?
Well, I started taking lessons on guitar when I was 12 years old, after I saw Coal Miner's Daughter. I,
Oh,
I I saw the movie and I fell in love with Patsy Cline and Loretta Lynn, even though I knew they were actresses, but I still fell in love with their music and the idea of them. So after I saw the movie, I told my mom, I need the soundtrack for Coal Miner's Daughter. I need the best hits of Loretta Lynn and the best hits of Patsy Cline, and a guitar and guitar lessons. And she hooked me up.
well, great. So you learned how to play the acoustic guitar, and I know you play many other instruments. You're a multi-instrumentalist.
I am, and I just kind of dabble in the other ones just enough to do recording in my studio. I've played bass in the past with a group called Women on Top. A group of women from Pittsburgh and Massachusetts and Philadelphia. We're from all over, and we all go to this annual gathering with some friends up in Potter County, and we all were singing with different groups, and we decided, why don't we put a female group together? But
So that's your group, is Women on Top? Is that the current group that you're playing?
this is that's an ongoing group that gets together once, twice, sometimes 3 times a year, and I recently did a show to release to celebrate the release of my CD of my, I keep saying CD and I didn't print a doggone CD. It's all digital. But I did a release celebration with my friend Patty Spadero, who's also in Women on Top. She released a song that I sang on. I did some harmonies on it, and I was in her video. It's a song of women empowerment that she wrote after the last presidential election, because she was so excited that
So,
we had a
okay,
woman.
where did you two meet, and how many people are in the group, and what are the different was it like singing and different instruments that you play?
Those are good questions. Women on Top came about when, let's see, we may have been together for about 10 years.
10 years.
Jill Payon Simmons, a formerly blues singer of Pittsburgh, who now sings in a band called The Cause, and also an all-female Grateful Dead band called Brown Eyed Women. Jill was we named the band because Jill saw our name on the list, as all us women had got together, and we put some songs together, and we haven't given ourselves a name yet. And on the roster that had the schedule, it said that the women were on the top stage, on the balcony stage in the barn.
Wow.
And she said, "Hey, that name is awesome. Let's keep it." So we became Women on Top. So that was about 10 years ago, and we've sung every year at that Potter party, and we've also done some shows around the Pittsburgh area from time to time.
That's a catchy name, Women on Top. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. We should record something. So I'm glad we're having this conversation, because we have a lot of songs that we...
Well, that's interesting. That is interesting. So, okay, how many people are in the group, and what are the instruments they play? And are you a lead singer also, besides the acoustic guitarist?
We are all lead singers in Women on Top.
Oh, and how many are in the group?
Well, there's Patty Spadero that plays guitar. There's Ellen Salcido, and she recently got remarried, and I don't know what her new last name is, but Ellen. She sings, and she also plays acoustic guitar. I have played bass at times because there was enough acoustic guitars, and my friend, we do have one man that sits in with us each year on bass, David Talberg. He's been playing with me for over 25 years in multiple different bands and such, but he's our honorary man on the bottom of Women on Top.
You're the Women on Top, and he's the honorary man on the bottom. Okay,
right.
Everything works out, right?
Yes. But sometimes he would pass his bass to me, and he would play mandolin.
Oh.
I started playing with David because I answered an ad in a magazine, the Rock and Roll Reporter magazine, back in 1997, because I had a band when I moved to Pittsburgh. I'm kind of bouncing around here. When I had moved to Pittsburgh, this is kind of how Women on Top got together. We have to start with David Talberg. I had a band called the Clay Band, Cherylann Hawk and the Clay Band.
It's called the Clay Band? Okay.
The Clay Band, yes.
Oh, the
CLAY.
Clay Band? Okay.
The Clay Band, we did a lot of women women's songs that were part of Lilith Fair. You know, there was that time back in '96 to '98 where Lilith Fair was doing a tour. It was Sarah McLachlan's um, mastermind sort of concert of all kinds of women that were on the charts at the time getting together. So I learned a lot of the songs that were on the charts and mixed in some of my original tunes. And the band had broken up. We lost our bass player, and I was looking in the Rock and Roll Reporter for a bass player. And David Talberg said he liked Sean Colvin and Alison Krauss and Grateful Dead, and he played bass and sometimes mandolin as well. So I called him up, and he said that he just got a corporate job, so he couldn't be in a band full time, but he'd sit in with me from time to time, and we've been making music together ever since.
So you enjoy having a band. It sounds like you do enjoy working with other people and being in a band, right?
I sure do. I'm in several bands right now. Women on Top is the occasional band that we've been talking about. But David, at one point, I had left Pittsburgh and I was traveling, building log homes with my daughter's dad, and we lived in the same area where that annual party happened. And he said, "Are you going to be home on the weekend of 4th of July?" And I said, "Well, as a matter of fact, I am." And he said, "Well, your neighbors are having a party, and my Pittsburgh band that I just joined is playing over there. Why don't you come over and you can sit in with my band?" So he had been sitting with me for years, and I get to sit in with his band, which is a band that does a lot of Grateful Dead and a lot of other music too. So they don't call themselves a Grateful
So what
Dead
is the name of that band?
That band is called The Cause.
The Pod?
The Cause.
Oh, The Cause.
THE, and those are small letters, and then CAUSE.
Oh, The Cause.
Those are capital letters. The Cause.
Okay, The Cause. Okay.
Yes. So
Great. Who's your musical inspiration? The singer and songwriter. Anybody that you really look up to?
Well, the first person that I really looked up to was Loretta Lynn because of Coal Miner's Daughter. I wanted to be I wanted to be a country singer and be like Loretta Lynn. And then I moved to Pittsburgh from West Virginia, and I dove into lots of other different styles of music because I found all these people, that were part of the music scene here, and I got to hear them singing lots of music that I hadn't heard before. And a lot of people kept telling me that I should listen to that I sounded like Joni Mitchell, that my style was like hers, because there's a lot of different styles. Once I broke away from country and started trying out different genres like jazzy music. I'm not a jazz singer or player, but I like some of those jazz chords, and I like the groove. So it gets into my music sometimes. And
that's another thing I was going to ask you about, the kind of music. Would you describe your music, like the music that you play, and your favorite kind of music? Is it rock? Is it pop? Is it country? Is it jazz? Is it gospel? Is it folk?
It depends on the day, and it depends on what kind of music I'm listening to learn. I don't often listen to music just to enjoy listening to it. It's either because I'm learning some music to sing with the band, or I'm writing some music or learning some songs to record with someone who's bringing me into the studio to do some backup vocals, or I listen to music that my daughter DJs during our trips. That's when I get to hear new music. So I hear a lot of different genres. Some of the new music of this, Gen X, is that the generation?
Do you have any favorites? Or do you like them all pretty much equally of different?
Well, I love Joni Mitchell. I love her folk era. I love when she went a little more rock and roll, and I love the jazzy songs, and I love some of the stuff with the orchestras that she's been recording over the past years before she took a bit of a break. Now she's out performing again with Brandi Carlile, and it's so good to see her out there again.
So you're not limited to you're interested. It's unlimited. You're interested in all kinds of different areas. Sounds like country, folk, jazz, pop, rock.
I
country,
do.
a little everything.
Oh yes, I like the old country more than the new country, and I sing some of the old country songs when I sing at retirement homes.
I see.
I do shows at retirement homes during the weekdays, three or
What are
four
your
times.
favorite? Now, what are your okay? As far as performing, what are your favorite places that you perform at? Do you have any favorites that stand out?
I, I my favorites are some of the ones that I frequent. One is Steamworks Creative. It's this wonderful listening room where
What was that?
people
I couldn't hear that. What was that?
Steamworks Creative.
Well, be more creative. Okay.
Steamworks, STEAMWORKS,
STEAM.
like a
ST.
train.
What? STEAN.
STEAMWORKS.
Well, I don't. I'm still trying to understand it. I'm sorry. I'm trying to understand something creative.
Steamworks Creative.
Be more creative.
STEAMWORKS.
STEAN.
WORKS.
WORKS. Steam Works Creative, something like that.
Yes.
Okay, I'm having a hard time understanding. I'm trying to understand it. Okay.
It's named Steamworks Creative because it was a vape shop first. And
Steamwork Creative. Okay, I got you now.
yes,
All right.
Steamworks. It has an S on it.
Steamworks Creative. There we go.
You got it. You got it. Steamworkscreative.com. People can look it up and see what kind of music we have flowing through there. It's a listening room where people come in and everybody's quiet while we perform, and then they talk between songs. So it's a listening room. It's BYOB and BYOF. And I perform there a lot because my band Vento, Ziggy, Hawk, and McCarthy, it's a 4-piece acoustic group. John Vento, he started Steamworks Creative, and he says he doesn't own the place, he doesn't manage the place. It has a wonderful staff full of people that all have equal input into keeping the place alive and
Oh,
keeping it
great.
going. But John started this acoustic group, which is John Vento, and Ziggy is Bob Zigarelli. He plays guitar and sings and is amazing. And Hawk is me, Cherylann Hawk. And McCarthy is Kevin McCarthy. He plays guitar and sings as well. So we have wonderful 4-part harmonies. And sometimes we also have our friend Joe Burtz joins us on guitar, and he sings if one of the others can't make a show. And we also have some friends who come and play bass and percussion, Greg McEltrott and Phil Vento.
Now, do you prefer large crowds or small crowds, or does it make a difference? And what is the average size of the crowds?
It's hard to say average because of all the different configurations of how I perform. I could do a show with the Cause, and there could be 500 people one night, and then the next day I'll be singing to 30 people at a retirement home during the day, and then that night I might be at Steamworks Creative singing to a full house of 50 people with my acoustic group, or solo opening up a show for somebody else. And then just the other night I did the release party with Patty Spadera. We had a bass player and a drummer with us, and we had a nice full room there for our release party. But sometimes even with the acoustic group, we'll play for a festival, like the Italian festival, and there's hundreds of people in front of us and walking by.
So it sounds like it doesn't matter to you. It can be larger or smaller. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Do you have an audience participation in your show? And if so, how do you get the audience to participate?
The most audience participation I do is at the retirement homes, where I get everybody to sing and clap along. But most of the other shows, the audience participation might be dancing, like when I'm singing with the jam band, whether it's the Cause or Rubens Painted Mandolin, which is an offshoot of the Cause, kind of like Jerry Garcia had Grateful Dead, but then he also had the Jerry Garcia band. So Rubens Painted Mandolin has a rotating amount of pool of musicians. So Pappy, who is with the Cause, he started Rubens Painted Mandolin. He's like the Jerry Garcia of the band. We play all Jerry Garcia songs, except for when we get to the end, it's called The Twist, and it's something that Jerry never would have done.
That's really neat. So you do any meet and greets and signing autographs in your shows at all?
No, I don't. I've performed while other people have done meet and greets, opening up for them. Like I opened up for Donnie Iris, and he was doing a meet and greet in the back. And sometimes he would say, "Hey, let's not talk for a sec. I really like this part of the song. Let's listen to it." I was a bit of a
You've never done
distraction
that before. Okay, it doesn't
for
mean
his
you
meet
might.
and greet.
There's always a first time. You never know. You might.
True. But
Do you have any performance anxiety in your shows at all? Have you ever had?
only I have through the years, and the only time it happens is if I'm not as prepared as I wish I was. Um, and I don't really call that well, that would be the only time that anything could be called anxiety. If there's a huge crowd and my heart's pounding, I think of that as excitement and adrenaline. I don't think of it as a negative thing. I think of it as an exciting, positive thing to fuel the energy of when I go onto the stage. And I help a lot of people when I am hosting open mics overcome what they feel like is anxiety, and help them embrace that as just excitement for being able to share their songs and such. I do host open mics as often as I can. I used to do it a little bit more, and I want to explain why I'm wearing headphones and my microphone while I'm doing a Zoom call. I am one of the hosts in the rotation for something called Ham Bones Open Mic, and it's on Zoom. It used to be something that I hosted here in Pittsburgh in the actual building, the brick and mortar building, Ham Bones. But ever since COVID, it's been on Zoom since March of 2020, every Tuesday. And then this year, we've changed it to just the first Tuesday of each month.
Oh, you changed it now. Okay.
Yeah, this is
How do you handle, there's rejection in life in general, but especially entertainment. How do you handle rejection yourself?
Rejection, like what sort of rejection? Like
Well,
if I
any kind of
fail to get a
rejection. Would
gig?
it be? It could be for trying to get a certain gig, or maybe you're putting out a song, or you're or something in your performance. Let's say, for example, even if you had a show, let's say you try to, how do you re-energize a crowd? Let's say they're getting bored or something. How do you go about doing that? I mean, there's different ways of being rejected, of course.
Yes.
And how do you handle that if that happens? I'm sure that can happen to anybody.
If I'm singing for a crowd that isn't there for the show and they seem bored, then I'll pull out a song that I know that they'll enjoy singing and clapping along to. We do more audience participation in my shows with Vento, Ziggy Hawk, and McCarthy. And, sometimes we'll do a song like It's All Right, and there's a everybody clap your hands sort of part to that. And I have a song called It's All Good that has a nice crowd participating sort of section of the song where everybody starts singing, It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. But a lot of times a cover that's familiar with the audience that you're singing for will definitely turn things around a
Do you
little.
prefer cover songs or original songs, or both equally?
I love singing the songs that I made up so very much, but then some days come along and I'm thinking, I just want to sing other people's songs because I don't want to think about my perspective of the world on certain days. That doesn't happen very often, but it has happened. And I say it happened the most, I guess, when I was doing quarantine live streams during COVID times when nobody could do performances. And there were some days where I just did covers because I didn't want to get inside my own head and sing about how I felt on other days because I didn't feel like that on that particular day.
You have such a beautiful, charming smile that you do have, Cherylann.
Oh, thanks for saying so.
And I'm sure that helps too when you're performing. You got a positive aura about you. You love what you're doing.
I do love what I do, and I love seeing that other people are feeling more positive or feeling like they can conquer something a little better than they thought they were able to before they came and
what is there about singing and songwriting that you love? And also when you do your songwriting, how do you go about your process of writing songs? Is it music or is it words first or vice versa?
That's a good question. It happens in a variety of different ways. Sometimes Somebody will send me a poem and say, "Can you turn this into a song?" And I'll search for what the feeling is that they're going for. If it's not obvious in the words themselves, and I'll ask them if they have a certain kind of music that they were thinking of when they wrote the words. What kind of music they like. So I do a little research and figure out which direction I'm going to go with that, and then I write the music and some melody for it. Usually, the music comes along with the melody.
The music comes first? Okay.
When I'm writing music to somebody else's poetry, or if I have my own poetry and I want to put music on it. But the melody would come first before I figure out what the chords are most of the time.
That takes a special talent to do that. That's not easy to put together words and music and write songs. You've probably written many songs in your life too, probably.
I certainly have. And a bunch of them are released digitally all over the place, all the places people listen to things. I still have a few CDs left from the years when people actually bought them, and I carry them around in my car in case anybody says that's
you never know
the way they prefer.
What is there about singing and songwriting and performing that you really like? I mean, what is there about it that must be? I'm sure there's an excitement to it.
There's an excitement to it that my excitement is mostly for seeing that people are hearing the lessons that I've learned and share that I'm sharing, how I approached a situation, and then I see their faces light up, or I see their faces calm. Maybe it's a song where I just am getting everybody to breathe with me. Like I have a song called Rhythm of Life that I open most shows with, where I just get everybody to breathe and let the day melt away and flow with the rhythm of the song. And it used to be a 3/4 timing song, and I changed it to a more vigorous 4/4. Starts out calm, but it becomes vigorous.
You prefer ballads, slow songs, or faster songs, or you like them about equally? Or
I like a mix. I like to listen to a mix. Yeah, when I listen to my own favorite songs playlist, it's quite a mix of slow songs, and there's a cappella songs on there. There's fully orchestrated songs. There's some songs that are just drums and some singing. I like a great mix. So during my shows, people will hear a great mix, whether it's an original show where I get to sing all my original songs. They'll hear that there's a great mix of different songs, and I'll sing a little bit of country, a little bit of folk, a little bit of pop, a little bit of rock.
A little bit of everything.
But it all ties together because the instrumentation for each show is all the same. So all those different styles still come together and seem to flow organically into each other. So
you like to try different things. It sounds like you're not stuck in one area. You like to be variety, right?
I sure do. And one of my things that I dove into recently was I wrote a song that had an Arabic sort of feel. It's a prayer song, and I just scheduled a couple of choirs to be recording on it in a couple of weeks. I asked a friend if he could play bass. That's David Tallberg. I was talking about him. That's where it all started. Not where it all started, but where Women on Top started, and that's how I got singing with the Cause and the jam scene and such. But he said that he had an oud, so I got to record my friend playing an oud. It was the first time he played it, and he pulled it out of his closet. So I do that too. I play instruments that I've never played before when I'm recording, and as long as you get those melodies that you're looking for, you don't have to be a master of an instrument to be able to play something emotional on it that works well with the song.
Now you have a song coming out pretty soon, original called Love and Gratitude. How did you go about creating that song?
That song happened because a friend of mine who used to book me at around Pittsburgh, he was one of my agents who booked me at different places, and he was also a venue owner and such. He moved to Nashville, and he was working for a record company. And he called me up and said he was looking for music for a new girl that they had just took on at the record label, and he said, "Well, I know a lot of your songs will sound country if you add a little fiddle or a little pedal steel or banjo." And I said, "Yeah, I do have some that would work well like that." And he said, "Well, send them to me." And as I was putting the songs together, I started feeling inspired to write a couple of songs. So Love and Gratitude is one of the songs that came out of my inspiration.
That is beautiful. It's got a great sound to it. It's relaxing. It's very up and very happy, positive.
Thank you so much for saying so. And it is out. It was officially released on June 8th. So it is now
Congratulations on
available.
that. Congratulations on that. Okay. Yeah. What would you say is your happiest memory in a performance? And also, has there ever been a performance where you tried so hard to make it work and for some reason it didn't? If so, how do you handle that? Tell me about both the best and the worst.
I can't pick a happiest in particular performance, but I'll pick my happiest most recent one because there's so many amazing moments. But
Okay.
I get to sing with a couple of Cleveland friends of mine. I have a lot of bands that I'm in or groups that I get together with, and we do shows from time to time. So I have these two friends that I call the two Tims, Tim Askin and T Lane. They live in Cleveland, and they have a band called Sultans of Bing. We crossed paths at Nelson Ledges Quarry Park back in '98, and we've been playing together ever since because they learned a bunch of my songs, and they're so much fun to play with. Tim sings backup vocals and plays guitar, beautiful lead guitar, and T Lane plays percussion. He plays drum set mixed with congas and lots of percussion, and we played at our place that we met.
Where did you
Nelson
meet?
Ledges Quarry Park. We had Sultans of Bing did a show at Nelson Ledges Quarry Park back in 1998, and my trio, I played with a trio, the Clay Band trio, fretless bass player Nathan Wilson and Rob Grano on the congas. They're all over Live at Moondogs, a CD that I made some time ago when I played there every Thursday. That's my favorite CD. If that was going to be one of your questions, that's the answer.
What was the name of that CD again? What was that?
Live at Moondogs.
Live at Moondog?
Moondogs. Moondogs.
And Moondog. It sounds like Live at Moondog, right?
With an S on the end.
Well, Moondogs.
Yes. That's one of my other favorite venues. I had mentioned Steamworks Creative. Moondogs is one of my other favorites. I do a lot of shows there.
So that stands out. That performance, right? Where you met the people.
Yes, back to Tim and Tim, the two Tims. We did a show at Nelson Ledges Quarry Park last month, and it was just beautiful and magical. There's things that happen when the music just all, the chemistry just turns into this beautiful music that doesn't feel like it's coming out of you anymore. It feels like all of the musicians all that music is kind of inside of you, and I could hear all the instruments coming out of my voice in a way. Not really hear them all coming out of my voice, but
so everything blended together beautifully. The instrumentation and you got along really well, and it sounds like you had a great reaction from the audience, right?
Oh, it was wonderful. They could feel it too. There's those times when especially when it's someone that you don't play with all of the time. If it's someone you play with every night, you kind of expect that the music is going to be tight and wonderful, and you don't notice the magic moments quite as much as you do when it's a less frequent sort of thing. So
that's beautiful. Thanks for sharing that. Anyway, has there ever been a performance where you gave it your all? And I'm sure you give it your all the time on all your performances, but for some reason it's called Murphy's Law. If anything go wrong, it can and it will, and nothing went right. And if so, how did you deal with that? How'd you handle that?
It happens like that in my dreams all the time. I have never been able to perform in my dream. I'm always trying to get to a stage. Things are always falling apart, breaking up. But in real life, I guess the craziest thing that has happened was when I was doing my live streams, sometimes with my kids and sometimes I did, by myself, but they would come and enjoy me. My daughter Cheyenne would sing, and my son Leo would come in and he would bring his puppets in and do ventriloquist acts, and then he would play the bongos and sing with me. And Cheyenne bought me a loop pedal, and she said that she knew that I'd been wanting one, and I was going to have a lot of fun with it, and I did. But when I was learning how to use it, I just could not get it to turn off, and it just kept going and going. When people are learning the loop pedal, you learn that you're going to make mistakes from time to time, and it's going to happen in front of people. And when I make mistakes, I learned this a long time ago. I watched somebody who made mistakes fun, and I learned to look at life that way, to just to have fun with it. And if it's a mistake, if you do it twice, sometimes it sounds like you meant to do that and it turns into something fantastic. But sometimes you just can't do anything about it and you just have to laugh. And somebody else actually told me at a show once that they love my music, they love my songs, they love my voice, but what they loved the most was how I handled when things didn't go quite right.
So you're a trooper. It's like the old saying, laugh when the world laughs at you, cry and you cry alone. So you try to make it more like light if things are not going right, correct?
Right, because I know when I've seen people performing and they're upset that things aren't going well, I get upset with them, and so does everybody. And I don't want to get anybody upset, especially the people that are on the stage with me and making music with me, and they expected me to do a certain thing and I messed it up. I try to make light of it, for one, so I don't get in trouble for not getting it right.
You have a great attitude, that's for sure. That you do. What about if you ever forget the chords of a song in a performance, or you forget the words to the song, and anything like that? How do you deal with that? Has that ever happened? And if so, how do you deal with it?
Oh yes, it happens. It happens from time to time, at least once per show. If I forget chords, I often just mute the strings and just kind of play percussion until I figure out what the right chords should be, and I just keep singing, as if I didn't change anything about what I was playing on guitar.
And what about the words? Have you ever forgot the words of a song?
Yes, sometimes I'll end up singing portions of other verses and mixing them together, and then so if I'm singing the first verse and then I sing the second half of the first verse, ends up being the second half of the second verse. Then once I get to the second verse, I try to switch it around so I don't sing the same thing twice, but sometimes I do. Sometimes I just end up kind of scatting or blah, blah, blahing, or just making some kind of noise, or sometimes I don't make any noise at all until the lyrics come to me.
You do the best you can to adjust to it and just act like, I guess, like it's not a big thing. And okay, gotcha. That's great. Okay. Have you ever entered any musical contests or festivals? And if you did, tell me the different places you did it at, and did you win any prizes or anything? Enter any contests, songwriting contests or musical festivals?
I don't enter a lot of contests. I used to as a child. I did a lot of talent shows. I did a lot of contests back then, and that was a way of me finding stages to be on, but I didn't like the letdown if I didn't get first place. I was in dog shows and horse shows. I was always competing, and I did that from the time I was like 7 until I was 18, and I moved out on my own. And then after that, I decided I didn't want to compete anymore because it's hurtful. People were hurtful towards each other at times. So I shy away from those sorts of audiences or contests where it might seem like people weren't friendly with each other. I always like to try to keep people friendly with each other. I started an organization in Pittsburgh with a friend of mine called Acoustic Cafe to bring all of the singer-songwriters together instead of us competing against each other to get the spot at the arts festival, to get to get our places in different venues. It was a way of getting everybody together to make a community that, sings together, does shows together. We ended up creating a stage at the Arts Festival for all of the Acoustic Cafe artists to sing on.
I like that idea. You're working with each other instead of against each other, and you're helping you're loving each other and supporting each other and helping each other instead of trying to put each other down and trying to compete.
Right. Sometimes competitions are fun if there's like $2,000 and some
Mm.
studio time and stuff. And I've done a couple of competitions. I did the Graffiti Rock Challenge 25 years ago or so.
Mm.
I think that's the last big competition I was
Did
in.
you ever enter any kind of a talent show, anything in which you top competition, which you tried it but you didn't get the call back? I mean, if you don't get a call back, it doesn't mean you don't have talent. It just means it's just not what you have is not what they want. That doesn't mean you don't have talent, right?
Right, right. And that's what I was told. I accidentally entered well, not accidentally entered a contest. I was tricked into entering a contest by some friends who took me to Washington, D.C. It's a Nashville, it's a country music version of like American Idol and, oh, what's it called? Nashville, something Nashville.
It's not America's Got Talent, is it?
It's not America's Got Talent.
It's
It's
not
not
The
The
Voice.
Voice.
It's not The
No,
Voice.
it's something that's strictly country.
Well, country talent show. It sounds like.
Yes, it's a country talent show. And they took me to DC and they said, bring a shirt that you would perform in and bring your guitar. That's all they told me.
Okay.
Some friends that played with me from time to time when I lived in Winchester, Virginia.
So what happened there? What happened on that one?
Well, I got picked from I became a finalist from the first day, and I went back the second day, and they asked me to sing an original song because the first day I had to sing a song from the list, and I saw Alison Krauss, her song "When You Say Nothing at All," which is actually a Keith Whitley song from the '80s, but Alison Krauss covered it, and I did her version, and they loved how I did that. So the next day I came back, and first they did an interview with me and asked me to write a song on the spot, and then I went in before the panel and I started singing the song that I had played that I sang for the first audition, and she said, "Okay, that's wonderful. That's how you sang it yesterday. Now I'd like to hear something that you wrote." And I started playing a song called "Little Nudge" that I wrote, and she said, "Is that how you would play it for an audience of thousands of people with cameras on you, with millions of people watching? Imagine if this is, at the finals." And I said, "Oh, okay." So I pretended like that many people were watching me, and she said, "All right, that's what we're looking for. You got it. You get what I'm talking about."
Oh,
So
great.
a week later, I got a call. Well, not a week later, about a month later. I got something in the mail with all the forms I had to fill out to go to the top to the finals if I made the top 20.
Oh, great.
I was doing all that, and I wish I could remember the name of the show. I feel really silly for not remembering. I'll look it up and figure it out afterwards.
Okay.
But anyways, I got a call from a fella who said, "You're not country enough for this contest." He said, watch some previous shows, and you understand what I'm saying. Because I wore a hippie shirt because I was with my jam band friends when I went to this contest. So I didn't bring any of my country clothes with me
Oh,
because they just said, I was with them and they said, bring a shirt that you would wear on stage. So I figured jam band. So it was this tie-dye gypsy sort of shirt. Not tie-dye. It was like a multicolored gypsy sort of shirt. And the girl asked me to explain why I chose the clothes that I chose. I said, well, for one thing, I didn't know I was coming to this contest when I packed my clothes.
so they turned you down that way because they didn't think you were country enough. That's what you said. Oh,
Right.
boy.
So I understood what they were talking about, and they didn't mean just in my delivery of the song. I purposely took the twang. I worked on making the twang soften in my voice. I grew up in West Virginia in the northern panhandle where we didn't have much of a southern accent like they do in lower West Virginia. But singing country music, I picked up the twang from all the people I was, who I was covering. And then when I wrote songs, the twang would go across into that. But when I moved to Pittsburgh, I worked on taking that twang out. Just to be more universal and create my own sound of voice with a mesh of all the different genres that I'm influenced by.
Have you won any awards for your performing and songwriting at all? If you did, tell me about them.
I haven't entered any songwriting
Okay, you
contests.
haven't done any of that. Okay. What about going on tour? Did you ever do any touring at all? And if you did, where did you go? Where did you travel?
I went down to South Carolina with a band that I was performing with some time ago, and we played 3 venues along the way. We did a weekend tour. That band was called Zen, and
That was South Carolina, did you say?
yes, we went down with our bus, and
Oh,
we stopped somewhere along the way. Maybe it was Georgia, and played a venue before we got all the way to South Carolina. Just recently, I did a mini tour with Vento, Ziggy Hawk, and McCarthy. We did a tour for raising funds for Guitars for Vets, an organization out in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania that acquires guitars, acoustic guitars, and gives them to veterans who want to learn guitar, and they get lessons for a month. So we were helping to raise funds so they can get more instructors.
well, have you worked with any other charities besides that one? No.
I do lots of shows for MS, Music for MS. I have a show
Oh,
coming
multiple
up with
sclerosis. Okay.
and
Yeah.
so Ziggy Hawk and McCarthy. We have an organization here in Pittsburgh called Band Together Pittsburgh that the owner of Moondogs and the owner of Steamworks Creative, John Vento and Ron Moondog Esser, they started an organization for kids on the autism spectrum who want to play music. So I do a lot of shows raising funds for Band Together Pittsburgh to help them to pay instructors. They have a DJ mentor who teaches the kids how to DJ if that's what they want to do. They have drum circles. You know, we pay instructors to come in and teach them, and we create shows for them to showcase all of their wonderful songs and songs that they've worked out together. There's a band called Spectrum. So
Those are great causes. They're excellent causes. Yeah.
it sure is. It's so wonderful to see these kids shine. They've turned their condition into a superpower.
Turn the scars into stars, right?
Right.
There you
Right.
go.
So
And have you, pardon me?
I've done lots and lots of different charity work.
Sounds
through the
like it.
years.
Yeah, it sounds like you've done quite a bit. Have you ever worked with or performed with any celebrities at all in your career, musical career?
I've opened for a lot of famous touring acts. I've had the opportunity to have Vassar Clemens, who plays fiddle. He played with Odin in the Way, and I last saw him playing with Odin in the Gray. They changed their name once they all turned gray. They were performing in Pittsburgh. I went to see him perform because one of his old managers had seen me when he came to Pittsburgh for a record Rama and bought all my CDs after listening to them when he came to my vendor's table where I had a little listening station for people to listen to my music if they wanted to buy CDs. But he said, come on down and you can meet the band and we'll get you good seats at the Carnegie Music Hall of Oakland. And I went out on their break in between, you know, the Odin in the Gray song, and Vassar Clemens said, I hear you sound like Joni Mitchell. I love Joni Mitchell, and I hear you have a show after our show. Can I come see you play?
Wow.
And I said, sure, but don't you have a meet and greet? And he said, yeah, but there's cheese there. I can't be in the same room with cheese.
Wow.
So he came out to Moondogs to see me play my usual Thursday night gig, and he said we must do something together. So I ended up calling upon him to play some fiddle on a song I wrote about West Virginia mountaintop removal called Larry's Mountain, and it's about a specific mountain called Caford Mountain in southern West Virginia, where mountaintop removal has just demolished all the mountaintops.
I bet you really liked John Denver. He was something, wasn't he?
He sure was. I sing his song Country Roads all the time.
Yeah, you do. Well, I had a feeling. I just had a feeling you would. Yeah.
I do. I sing it almost every day when I do my retirement home gigs.
Yeah, he was great. He was so positive. It's just too bad that he had the songs leave it on a jet plane, and 2 months later on his private plane, he ended up dying in a plane crash. That was tragic. He was so positive, John Denver, wasn't
He
he?
sure was. He was one of the ones who influenced my positive outlook. You know,
I'm
a
sure he
lot of the
did.
people that I've been attracted to have been people that have that positive energy
Have
that
that.
comes
Besides the
across in their
smile and
music.
personality, you have such a positive, charming personality about you. The way you express yourself, you love what you're doing, and it really shows. And it's just the way you speak, and the way you sound, and the way you look. It's all up and positive.
And I hope that it's all contagious, because that's what I do with my music. I want people to learn how I've gotten to be this positive and such,
That's
even
correct.
when things aren't going so well in life. You know, you can only do what you can do. And I say that in love and gratitude.
You do the best you can do. What you're doing is great. What about any television shows, radio shows, or podcasts that you have been on, and any ones that stand out in your career in your life?
Some of the radio shows that I've really enjoyed have been up on top of the hill before you come into Pittsburgh, in this big shiny building that looks like mirrors. It has mirror windows all around it. Um, I performed at 6 o'clock in the morning on the the WDVE Coffee House show 25 years ago, and then I did it again just 5 years ago, with John Vento and friends. Actually, we didn't do the really early show. We did. That doesn't matter. But anyways, it was wonderful to be in this building where I had driven past when I was working at the bank. I was working at a bank in Pittsburgh for a couple of years before I quit the bank, because I had a band together and I had enough gigs to quit my corporate job and just make music for a living. But I had driven past that big shiny building on top of the
You
hill,
were
and
working in a bank. What were you doing? Were you a teller, or were you a customer service, or what were you?
well, I took my business degree to Pittsburgh and I signed up for a temporary agency, and I was placed in the bank where the global trust cash managers worked, and I was just filing their things, and I was interested in what they were doing, and the supervisor noticed that, and she ended up hiring me. So I was a global trust cash manager. I talked to
Oh,
investment managers and brokers and helped settle trades for corporations,
wow.
um,
And
profits,
you were
anything.
able to quit that and do what you love doing, right?
Yes.
Fantastic. Not everybody can say that. You got to do what you don't like to do. A lot of times you get to do get to do what you want to do.
I
But then
have
when you get the
certainly had
opportunity,
to.
you do it. Right.
Right. And I've certainly had to supplement my income with doing other things. Like I was an Uber driver for 6 years. Um,
Uber
and
driver? Oh, really? Okay.
I had a lot of great adventures being an Uber driver. I would sing to people, and sometimes I'd play my music on Spotify if they asked me what I did besides being a driver. But but now my side job, besides making music, is moving office furniture.
You move office furniture? Really? Oh,
Yes, John Vento of my acoustic group Vento, Ziggy Hawk McCarthy, has an office furniture installation company. So that's where I fill in the holes in my schedule if I have some
well,
holes
you're
that
really
people
busy
fill.
there. You're really busy, Cherylann.
I am, and I have two kids too, so
Two
they
kids
keep me
also.
busy
Wow.
as well.
Never a dull moment, right?
Right.
What is a typical day as a singer and songwriter? What is a typical day for you?
During the school months, I wake up at 6 o'clock or 6:30 in the morning, and I take my son to school, and then I come home and I take care of posting all my story posts to Facebook and Instagram of all the posters of upcoming gigs for my different groups, whether it be for my solo things or things with Vento, Ziggy Hawk and McCarthy, or with Ruben Spain and Mandolin, or with my two friends in Cleveland. You know, all the different groups that I play with. We've got lots of posters, so it's a lot of story posts that I do daily, and answer on my emails. My mornings are usually computer time. I'll work on my phone or my laptop from my bed for the first part of my morning. But after I take Leo to school, I would end up coming sitting at my desk. And then I prepare for the gigs of the day, whether they be retirement home gigs. If it's Valentine's Day, I brush up on some love songs, So, whatever the holidays are that are around, I do a few songs that go with that theme. Or I'll prepare for studio sessions that are coming up. I'll learn some songs, or I might need to learn or brush up on some songs for some gigs coming up. That's what I do after I do my social media and email work and bookkeeping. I love bookkeeping.
Wow. So you promote yourself on social media too. I'm sure you do all that, right?
I do. And then usually around noon time is when I am getting ready to go to do my day gigs. And then sometimes I have night gigs after that. So sometimes after the day gigs, I have to go pick up my son from his dad's house or from the bus stop, depending on what time I got done with my day gigs. Bring him home. And sometimes I'll do some studio work at home. If I don't have gigs in the evening, I'll work on recording some music that might be a track that I'm sending to David Granati at Maplewood Studio, because that's where Vento, Ziggy Hawk, and McCarthy are working on projects. We have 3 projects that we're working on right now at different phases of production. Or I might be sending them to my friends in Cleveland because we're working on a track that my friend Tracy Marie wrote, and we're doing a cover of her song. Or I might start recording one of my own originals, start a whole new project here at home. So those are the.
What's your favorite part of the entertainment business? Is it writing songs? Is it recording music in the recording studio? Writing your own songs, whether it be original or performing, or even going ahead and doing personal performances, a live audience performances. Is there anything in particular that is your favorite, that stands out, or you like them all equally?
I like it all. You said sometimes solo performances. Sometimes I'll go and see a friend's grandmother when I go to a nursing home, because I'm singing in a unit where she can't come and see me. So I'll go to her room and I'll sing to her. Singing for her and seeing her closing her eyes and singing along or just listening is just as heartwarming for me as it is to be singing for hundreds of people that are singing and clapping along. I aim to move the ears of move the people that are hearing me in some way or another. And even if I'm just background music at a restaurant or something, I'll find somebody that's paying attention, and I'll feel like, okay, I did my job well today. I improved somebody's day. Somebody is smiling that wasn't smiling when they came in here.
Well, that's the beauty of what you're doing. You bring smiles and happiness to people. There's so much bad, it's easy to find the bad, but you want good, and that's what's great. You can lift people up and inspire them and make them happy and make them forget about their troubles, right?
Right. And sometimes in the middle of all the smiling, I will do a song where I'm not smiling, because sometimes you have to sing a song that people can relate to before you lift them up. You have to show them where you were before you were able to get to this place of resolution and being okay with things, even though things don't feel okay. You get to choose how you feel in each moment. And if I'm on stage, even if I had a bad day, if I'm on stage, I can stop thinking about that for long enough to think to myself, these people are here for an experience. They're here to feel something, and I'm going to do my job. Because I'm excited that they know that that's what's going to happen if they come out to see.
What do you think about the talent shows out there? The Voice, America's Got Talent, X Factor, The Voice, or American Idol? You feel that they serve a great purpose? They really help people that want to make it in entertainment. You think that they're very beneficial? What's your opinion on it?
I think that yes, they are very beneficial. And my mom, for many, many, many years, wanted me to enter into those, and I did the Nashville thing by surprise, by accident, the Nashville show, But I went as far as starting the application process for the voice, but I stopped when I saw that I was going to have to pay for my airplane flight to LA and
Oh,
for room and board, and I would have to pay for all that, and I would end up investing a lot of money into getting
oh,
out there. But I have so much going on back here at home that it takes a lot for me to put aside a couple of weeks to go do something like that, and then I'd have to pay for it. And the only way you get your money back is if you're the winner. Or
right.
a lot of a lot of people have gained a lot of attention, got a great new fan base because of being on the shows. Even if they didn't win, they still were heard by way more people than had heard them before. So there's that. Even if you're not the winner, you're still getting your music out there, but you have to have the money to invest to begin with.
I see. So you have to invest your money and time in order to do it, and there's no guarantees, of course.
Right. And to set aside everything else I have going on in my life
Right.
to gamble like that just has
That's
never.
quite a gamble, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And I've just never been at that point where I thought, okay, this is a good time in my life where I can set aside a couple of months and go do this instead of all the other things that I'm doing. I like to be doing a lot of different things at once.
I see. What would you tell your fans, and what kind of advice would you give anybody that wants to, even though it's very competitive, difficult, to wants to make it as a singer and songwriter and performer? You have any advice for them?
I'm going to share the advice with you that I heard from somebody when I asked for some advice at one point. Now, this is not from the beginning standpoint of oh, I'd like to learn guitar or I'd like to learn how to songwrite. This is for folks who are just jumping into sharing this craft that they've been honing in with the world when it comes to seeing how to get to a certain phase of having bigger fan bases and such. I was told, look at what successful people are doing and copy it. Now that goes for, that part of the business where you've reached that level where you're trying to figure out what kind of shows you want to do, what kind of touring you want to do, what kind of recording you want to do. But even that goes back to even someone who's just starting. Look at what the people you love are doing, the successful people, and copy them.
That makes sense.
So what someone can do is start learning how to play their songs. Look up the chord charts, watch their videos, see how they're playing, and then they can find if they need some help with techniques and stuff like that. Then they can find a teacher who knows how to teach that kind of style. Someone who has that in their excuse me, somebody that's already playing that kind of music. Like when I learned how to play guitar first, I was playing country music. I was singing country music. So my mom sent me to somebody who played country music. When I wanted to learn some fingerstyle, classical style guitar, mom found somebody who played classical guitar and sent me to him.
Those are great words of wisdom, Cherylann.
Copy the ones who are successful.
Right, Cherylann. That's right. Very right. Got it.
Yes, you pronounced it correctly. Thank you, Cheryl.
Okay, good. I'm glad I did. Now, you do music videos also, and how do you go about creating music videos?
Some of the videos that I've done for some of the singles that I've recorded in my home studio, I shot video footage with my iPhone and had my kids help. And I have a drone that I used for one of my videos, Take Care of Paradise. I wanted to get some faraway footage of us cleaning up trash. It's a song about picking up trash around the world and inspiring other people to do so as well. I wrote it at a beach cleanup in Aruba. But so I put that video together and several other ones just using iMovie and my iPhone footage and the parrot footage, the drone parrot. But sometimes I have other people do videos. Like there was a song that I wrote for my daughter, and when I gave her the video for her birthday, it was a private video of different times in her life that went along with some of the lyrics that I wasn't going to share with the public. I wanted her to decide what kind of video I would really, share with the public. And, they were personal things.
So you
But
wanted that was private. That wasn't something you wanted to share. Oh,
yeah, because her hair wasn't fixed. She didn't do her makeup. She was in the studio singing and just having fun, and didn't know that I was gonna take video and share it with the world. That sort of private sort of
well,
thing.
she didn't know.
She just
Okay.
wasn't purdied up and ready for the camera and all the shots that I used. So she said, we'll put a video together, and we never got around to it. So a year later, I released an animated video. I found a guy on Fiverr that makes animated videos for $100, and he did
Wow.
unlimited edits. Somebody, a friend of mine that I did some recording with, said you should make an animated video for one of your songs, and I have the perfect one. I have a song that we haven't put together any live footage for yet. So
Wow.
that's how I did that song. It's called "You Were Born Ready," and with the Vento Ziggy Hawk and McCarthy group, and with John Vento, who I started recording with in 2017 when he was starting his project Love, Lost, Another Wreckage. They decided they wanted a girl to come in to do some singing and songwriting and helping with arrangements and stuff. And I just happened to be, the day they decided, I just happened to be doing a session in that same studio at David Granati's studio. And he said, "Here's our golden girl. She might be your girl." So they gave me an assignment. They gave me a song that was just music, and they had some lyrics written, just one verse and a chorus, or maybe it was just a verse. And they said, "Let's see what you can do with this song. You could rewrite it. You could work from what we started." And it was a song called "Follow Your Heart." That was my audition song. So if you're interested in listening, it's John Vento's Love, Lust, and Other Wreckage album, "Follow Your Heart."
Follow Your Heart. Okay, great. So
Yeah.
you told me about radio show. It sounds like you did any television, right? You didn't do any television?
Most of the television I've done has been local talk shows and stuff. I did an Easter Seals telethon television show down in Wheeling, West Virginia for maybe 4 or 5 different years at different times in my life. Once was in 1983 and once was in 1997 or 98. Most of it has been either for charity work or promotional purposes. Not any big scales like David Letterman or Johnny Carson or anything.
You never did any talk shows at all? Okay.
Just local ones.
Just local. I got you.
Yeah. Same with radio. It's been mostly local ones.
Oh, I see.
And regional.
Oh, gotcha.
Where-
Let me ask Cherylann. Let me ask you. I want to give a shout out to Michael Stover. Michael Stover, has his own record company, his own musical company and everything, entertainment company and record company, and he does such a great job. And because of him, I've been able to get many shows. And so I want to give him a shout out. He's really doing a spectacular, great, and amazing job. And how did you meet Michael Stover?
I met Michael Stover, not face to face yet, but I met him through working with John Vento, because John Vento called upon him for help in promoting Love, Lust, and Other Wreckage.
Through John Vento, okay.
And then with his album Brick by Brick, which we released a single at a time, Michael Stover helped him to spread those songs around the world as well. So John suggested for this song that I hire Michael Stover to help me with this, because all the songs that I've released before didn't get as much, didn't get listened to and heard by enough people in the world. And John said, let's give this song a boost.
He must be doing a lot for you then, Michael Stover, right?
He is. He hooked us up here today. So thank you, Michael Stover, for doing all you do.
Thank you, Michael Stover. Thank you. Okay.
For me and my friend Patty Spadero is part of the MTS family now. She's the girl who I said it was with Women on Top, and I sang on her new release.
That's great.
Glass Shatters. She's working with Michael Stover. And Miss Freddie Stover. I don't think they're related, but she's been getting her music has been getting out into the world a lot, and she's been winning awards and doing so well. I know a lot of. I know
quite
a few of the Michael Stover.
A lot of people through Michael Stover. He's doing so much for you. That's spectacular. It really is.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
You have a lot to be proud of, Cherylann. I just want to say, if you had to do anything over again, and your life and your career, would you do anything differently?
Well, there's one moment that I go back to from time to time, and I wonder what my life would have been like. But then I think, oh, then I wouldn't have my kids, and there's things that I would, but I wouldn't know that I was missing them. My kids even have asked me these questions too, and they're like, just pretend like you don't even know that we could have been a possibility. I go back to when I was 16 years old. I had recorded a demo with the house band at the Capitol Music Hall in Wheeling, the country, mostly country music. They were the backup band for any of the touring artists that came through that didn't have a band. And Mom would take me to see all these shows at the Capitol, and then would go to the jam session upstairs. It was called the jam session for a while, and then they made it sound a little classier by calling it the ballroom. So on Saturday nights, some of the touring artists would go upstairs and they'd sit at this round table in the back of the room. And I got to meet Shelley West and David Frizzell that way. I met Eddie Lynn, Loretta Lynn's son, that way, and hung out with him. And I met a whole bunch of different people, but the one that is something that I might have done differently was in 1986. I met Mel Tillis. And
Mel Tillis, the stuttering country singer.
yes,
Wow.
yes, indeed. And when I would show up at the ballroom, the owner of the place would greet me at the door, and she would say, "Come on in." She'd tell everybody it's okay. I could come in with my mom because my mom was with me. I was underage, but I could be there because mom was with me. And she'd introduce me to the band and say, she's going to sing a song. She's going to sing a few songs. If you guys can't figure out a few songs that you know that she knows, then she'll just get up and play guitar on a few songs when you take your break. So after I got up and I played a few songs with the band, I would always walk to the restroom afterwards. So whoever was sitting at that round table would have an opportunity to say hi and tell me what they thought about my performance if they noticed. Sometimes they were deep in their conversations and they weren't there for the music. They just did their own big show. So the conversations didn't always happen. But that night, Mel Tillis asked me if I had a demo. He really liked my songs. And I did. I had a demo in my purse. I had just finished this demo that I did with the Jamboree House Band, and they were called the Other Brothers. And so he called me a week later and asked for my mom, because on my demo tape it said that my mom was my manager, and he asked for my mom, Connie Hawk. And I ran upstairs and I woke her up. I said, Mel Tillis is on the phone.
That's fantastic.
And he asked her if I would be the backup singer on his album that he was working on. And he wanted to produce an album of my originals, and he wanted me to go on tour opening up for him.
Wow. And
this was at the time when he teamed up with Pittsburgh songwriting team, Bob Corbin and Dave Hanner. And they wrote songs for him, and I think they toured with them for a little while. So I would have been having a very different life if I would have said yes.
Oh, you didn't say yes to that.
In 1986. No, I didn't say yes.
Why? For some reason, you just didn't want to do it.
I didn't say yes because I was listening to different kind of music when I hung out with my friends. I got to the point where I wasn't really enjoying country music. So she sent him some of my songs that were not country, and they were showing that I was sad and confused. And he said, well, call me if she changes her mind.
Wow. So it sounds like if you had to do it over again, you might have done something differently then.
I might have said yes.
You might have said yes.
Okay. Yes, especially if I knew that I was going to be hooking up with the songwriting team, Bob Corbin and Dave Hanner. I ended up many years later recording a couple of songs with Dave Hanner. I was talking about that Larry's Mountain song that Vassar Clements was on. I recorded that with Dave Hanner.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that with our audience. I really thought that's very interesting, Cherylann.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for asking.
No problem. Now, I was wondering, Cherylann, do you have any present projects that you're working on right now?
I do. I do. I have two ongoing projects that I have going on at my home studio. One is a prayer song that I had mentioned earlier. A friend sent me a prayer and asked me to give it a sort of an Arabic sort of feel. It's for peace and comfort for mothers and their children in Palestine and in the Middle East. And that is, I've done all the recording I'm going to do in my studio. I'm pointing over here like you can see my studio. Um, and now we're taking it to other studios where we're recording the choirs that are going to be
Oh, that's
singing
great.
the refrains. So that's one project. And the other one is a song that I'm working on with my friends, the two Tims in Cleveland, a song called Rise by Tracy Marie. That's going to be out soon as well. So that's two songs in my studio. Now I have a cover of Garden Party, Ricky Nelson's Garden
Really?
Party, that's being
I love
recorded
that.
with Vento, Ziggy Hawk, and McCarthy.
You got to do covers. You're right. If you can't please everyone, so you got to please yourself, right?
Right, that's it.
I love that. You're going to do that. That's
We
great.
already recorded the song. We're waiting for the video. It's
Wow.
our videographer Jim Patolsky. He's experimenting with AI animation for our Garden Party video,
Really?
and
That's
we're
right.
also waiting for the video shoot to be scheduled for a song called Spaghetti Western, being recorded by Vento, Ziggy Hawk, and McCarthy. There's a lot of Italians in the group,
Really?
so we have sort of a country flavor to the group, and we thought a spaghetti western song would be a great idea. So John called upon songwriter Shane McLaughlin, who's with a band called Buffalo Rose, based in the area, and asked him to write spaghetti western because it seemed like it was up his alley with the kind of music he writes.
That's great.
And we have a couple of other songs that Vento, Ziggy Hawk, and McCarthy is going to record my original called Little Nudge. We're going to record that.
Did you say Little Nudge? Did you say?
Yep.
Oh, great.
A Little Nudge. We've been performing that since we got together back in August. But I've been singing with John Vento since 2017. And the Ziggy of Vento, Ziggy Hawk, and McCarthy, he's been performing with John Vento and I for a year or two before we got together with
That's a long time. That's
McCarthy.
great. Yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
we always have some projects in various stages of production. So right now we have 3 or 4 in various
Wow,
stages.
you're
of
busy. You're
production.
busy. Do you have any future dream projects you haven't done that you really like to do in the future?
Well, I was just talking with my friend Patty Spadero and Eric Kurtzrock and Ryan Black after we did our release show. And Patty's been giving me a little nudge for years now to get together and do more music besides the Women on Top group. In addition to the Women on Top group. And after we did our release party, Eric and Patty and I looked at each other and said, we got to do this more often. So you're going to hear more from us coming up. So from the release Glass Shatters, you would hear Eric playing drums and Patty singing and me singing backup vocals. You could also go online and you can hear Patty and I with Women on Top. If you just type in women on top and then put Patty and Cherylann in the search as well, then you won't get stuff that you'd rather not be looking at. That's not a music group singing. with a title with a band name like that, you got to be careful.
I see. Now let me ask you, if people want to know more about you, Cherylann Hawk, how can they find out? Tell me about the links. Your entertainment website, Facebook page, YouTube channel, Instagram, Spotify, maybe imdb.com link perhaps, or LinkedIn.
I am on all of those, except for I don't go to my LinkedIn or Twitter very often, which is X now. But I just did since I was releasing Love and Gratitude, I did a post on those 2 platforms for the first time in a while. But I'm most active on Facebook and Instagram, and Spotify is my favorite place to listen to music, but you can find me on all streaming platforms. You know, the distributor sends it out to Deezer and Apple Music and iTunes, all those different places. So I have a website that has all those links on it. Cherylanhawk.com. And I'll spell my name in case anybody wants to know exactly how to spell it. So you find me right away. It's CHERYLANNHAWK. And the website has no punctuation or anything, just Cherylanhawk.com. The dot is the only punctuation.
The people should be able to find you, no problem. If you want to remember your last name, just think of a hawk. Just think of a bird, a hawk.
Yeah, that's what I usually tell people when I spell my name out. I'll say HAWK, hawk like the bird.
Yeah, and your name is beautiful too, Cherylann. I really like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anyway, Cherylann Hawk, what I want to say for all our fans out here, friends and fans, here's a time you've all been waiting for. It's now showtime with Cherylann Hawk. And we're going to present the beautiful vocal stylings of this young, great, beautiful artist, Cherylann Hawk, for your entertainment and delight. And so the very first song is called Love and Gratitude. And have a blazing hot fun time with that.
Sometimes it takes a while to just let go of the things you know. Make you feel like you're more than just a little bit crazy. With just a little smile from folks who know when you've lost your glow, can pick you up just enough to lift you up, and then maybe you'll remember what you are craving. You'll remember who you are. You'll remember why you're amazing. You'll remember when you are far from the place where your grace can be spreading like wildfire. All you need is some love and some gratitude. Sometimes you need some time to take a deep breath, give your mind a rest. Take some time to unwind and have a moment to remember that you will be just fine if only you know you can only do what you're able to in time if you're gentle and tender. You'll remember what you are craving. You'll remember who you are. You'll remember why you're amazing. You'll remember when you are far from the place where your grace can be spreading like wildfire. All you need is some love and some gratitude. Everywhere that you go, wrap your arms around the ones you love. Show them that you're grateful. Every brand new day you'll thank the Lord above. You'll remember what you are craving. You'll remember who you are. You'll remember why you're amazing. You'll remember when you are far from the place where your grace can be spreading like wildfire. All you need is some love and some gratitude. gratitude.
Bravo, bravo. Yes, that's right. All you need is love and gratitude. That is so beautiful.
Thank you so much. Can I tell you who I recorded that with?
Who did you record it with?
I recorded that with David Granati, who I had mentioned was who brought me together with John Vento to record the album Love, Lust, and Other Wreckage, which I remembered we won an award for. We got Album of the Year for Love, Lust, and Other Wreckage in 2019 with
Really?
the International Music and Entertainment Association, IMEA.
Oh, you did win an award then. Okay, great.
I did, yes, for that album. And there's a girl that's on the front of the cover of that album named Nicole Windsor Ross, who just produced a video for Vento, Ziggy Hawk, and McCarthy for a song that we had written as a belated title track for Love, Lust, and Other Wreckage called Love, Lust, and Wreckage. And Nicole, who starred as the motto on the front of our album cover back then, also was in the video for Love, Lust, and Wreckage. So she produced that for us. But David Granati, who recorded Love, Lust, and Other Wreckage and on all of our Vento, Ziggy Hawk, and McCarthy songs, also helped produce Love and Gratitude. He engineered the project, and he called upon Charlie McVeigh to bring in some pedal steel, who used to play with the house band at the Capitol Music Hall. So lots of full circle things have been happening in my life. You know, I ended up recording with Dave Hanner, even though I didn't get the 1986 opportunity to do so. And here I recorded recently with Charlie McVeigh after playing with him when he was in the house band at the Capitol Music Hall. And then I called upon my friend Tracy Horton, who I went to high school with. And then she was in my clay band 25 years ago. So she's done various projects from time to time through the years with me since she was in my band 24 years ago. Yeah, we're due for a 25-year reunion soon.
Yeah.
And David Granati had his brother Joey come in to play keys and bass on Love and Gratitude. And Bob Zigarelli of Vento, Ziggy Hawk, and McCarthy played guitar. He played beautiful guitar on Love and Gratitude. So a lot of the stories that I've told you have people that, you know, all kind of came together into Love and Gratitude.
That is fantastic. All's well that ends well. Thanks for sharing that. That's very, very beautiful and very interesting, Cherylann.
You're very welcome.
Your experiences. Anyway, for all our fans and friends, we have one more song for you, Cherylann Hawk, to share. A real treat, and you're gonna love it. It's called "I'm Still Here with You."
Ooh, I was wondering what you were gonna pick.
Let's all have a blazing, amazing time with Cherylann Hawk. I'm still here with you.
Yesterday's sunrise, and oh, my tired voice has been singing to connect and rejoice, and all my tired bones have been dancing all night long, and I'm still here. My head is foggy, but it's perfectly clear that I'm still here with you. Oh, my tired eyes see the sparkle in the morning sunrise, and oh, my tired voice is still singing a song of your choice, and oh, my tired bones will be dancing My head is foggy, but it's perfectly clear that I'm still here with you. I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm still here with you.
Bravo, bravo. You're still here with, I'm still here with you. And I'm still here with you, ladies
And
and
I'm
gentlemen.
still here with you.
Yes, we're all here with each other, right?
We sure are.
And that is so
Sure.
beautiful. Just your smile, your personality, and the way you sing it. There's so much charm. And I do, Cherylann Hawk, I do want to thank you so much for being a guest on my show, on the Amazing Richard Johnny Blaze Show. You have been so charming and so entertaining and fun and inspirational. And the time has gone by very fast.
It did. I can't believe it's as late as it is. My goodness. It's
And,
been wonderful
you know what?
talking with you.
You have, yes, I've been really enjoyed it. Time has gone, it has gone by fast. Anyway, well, I just want to say that you have had and continue to have a very blazing and amazing, wonderful life in entertainment, very interesting life, and you have still much more, I'm sure, to come. That people will be watching out for and everything. So continue blazing those trails, Cherylann Hawk.
I sure will. I
Sure
like
you
the way
will.
you put it. I love trailblazing.
My pleasure, my pleasure. I just want to say, wrapping up and closing the show, like I always say to all my fans and friends, always keep a smile on your face and a song in your heart. And until next time, happy trails and blaze out.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to be a guest on an entertainment talk show, please send us an email at amazingoriginalJBshow@gmail.com. All of our episodes will appear on YouTube and Facebook and receive over 3,000 views. Don't forget to sign up for our YouTube channel, and every guest will receive a complimentary DVD of their appearance on the show. Remember, we are much better than a podcast. And now, the amazing, original Johnny Blaze has just left the building. Good night. God bless.